Good afternoon. This is the Gabb, and this is a great new thing that we're doing. Episode 3, sharing thoughts, times, what's happening with some of my very favorite people, restaurateurs, and everybody around town. So let's start with Amy and Dustin. Introduce yourselves.
You go.
Dustin Barrett, Tables Restaurant.
Amy Barrett, Tables Restaurant.
And Tables is where?
We are in Park Hill at 2267 Kearney Street, and we just celebrated 15 years.
Oh, that means I've known everybody so long. Olav, introduce yourself.
Yes. I'm Olav Peterson. I am co-owner of Bittersweet with my lovely wife, Melissa, who's really the big boss in town. And we are in the Walk Park neighborhood, sitting in our garden right now, just waiting, thinking about how we're going to reopen.
Are you at the restaurant in one of those gardens?
I am. I'm actually sitting on our patio as we speak.
Because you grow all those beautiful,
I know. Actually, if there was the garden is perfect right now as far as patio goes. It's too bad it's the season that it is. So, but we're all dealing with and trying to figure out how, as restaurants, we're going to be able to get this to feel normal again.
Yep.
Well, I heard today, I read someplace, we're not supposed to say new normal. We're just supposed to say now normal, which I find sort of hard to say, but we will say. I don't think we told anybody where the restaurant is.
No, not yet. It's 500 East Alameda on the corner of Alameda and Pennsylvania. Phone number, we're still answering the phone, 303-942-0320.
Did you take my reservation?
Well, you have a reservation on open. That is a given.
But not right now. All right, why don't we start and find out what's been happening in the time since the quarantine, or I call it the nightmare. Amy and Dustin, you stayed open, so why don't you explain what you've done?
So we started, our last night, like everybody else, was that Saturday night, and then we reopened on that Tuesday doing family meals to go. So we chose to not do just regular delivery from our menu, but sort of made it larger portions, so 2, 4, 6, with a weekly changing menu. So we're really in a very family neighborhood, and so it seems to have done pretty well for the neighborhood. We've gotten a lot of people saying thank you very much for doing this, and we are very happy to be supported by the community. We've hired back a couple of our staff, but nobody's allowed in.
You had to fire some of them.
Well, not fire, but
let go.
Yeah, we laid people off. Everybody.
First, we laid off everybody, and then slowly, the first week it was just Dustin and I and one other person, and then we realized we couldn't just have it be that. So now we've got 9 people back, and so we're doing. Nobody's allowed in the restaurant. We take temperatures every day. When everybody comes in, gloves, masks, and we've just evolved like everybody else has.
Okay, and you are totally pickup. You're not doing delivery around town.
I'm not doing delivery, no.
Which I understand, because I think they take too big a percentage of what you're trying to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole nother element too of like getting the food there and it not being compromised, and just having it be the way that you want it to be. Our pickup service, we kind of have them make pickup times kind of like reservations, so there's only a couple people that come at the same time to pick up on every 15, so half an hour, 45, so we only have 5 people at a time.
That's great. And you're still closed on the nights you would have been closed.
Correct. We stopped at about 7 p.m. Planning to open next week for lunch, for doing sandwiches. That's how we started.
This is new.
Yeah,
it's old but new.
It's old but new. We started out as doing sandwiches 15 years ago, and now we've come full circle, and we're going to be doing sandwiches during the day, and then the following week we're going to open for dinner.
New normal.
New normal.
New normal. Yeah. Okay, Olav, what have you been up to?
Yeesh, what have we been up to? So I would have to say that that same Saturday, just kind of trying to read the tea leaves, and I think Amy and Dustin may have experienced it too. I mean, it was crazy because we came off the most successful Valentine's Day we had ever had. We had never had a busier Valentine's Day. It was really, we were starting to see this like return to dining and everybody going out in this great environment that was happening in the restaurant. And right around the beginning of March, things started changing. All of a sudden we have a Saturday night and we'd lose like 30% of our reservation, or all of a sudden things would start kind of changing and they weren't quite the same. So kind of reading those tea leaves and talking with my staff and seeing where we're going. And then, on that day, and not knowing that it was all going to just happen on one day. It wasn't just, we'll be closing things down in 2 weeks, or we'll be closing things down at that moment in time. It was, I don't know, scariest moment that you could think of as a business owner, like hands down scariest moment I've ever had as a business owner. So, and so leading up to that, I think there was just days of emotional panic and crying, and I'm a relatively stable person, but I was an emotional wreck for probably the first 2 weeks of it. And then, once school started back up, we kind of found what that was going to look like. And we were really thankful as a family to have this opportunity, to really just be us, because we knew, as much as we talked about the ideas of to go and the ideas of, maybe doing delivery, maybe changing the business model, maybe we do things that are kind of similar in the style of what Bittersweet's always been. But at the end of the day, like, Bittersweet is its own environment, and it's always been this kind of destination for people. And it's really not the same without being here. And it's not the same with the style of service we do. It's not the same with the style of cuisine that we do. And my wife and I and the team and all of us kind of sat there and said, we think this is best for us right now. Let's close it down. And when we can bring it back is what Bittersweet is, and the brand that we built that Bittersweet to be, that's when we need to bring it back. And like, even this, and I had expressed my opinion, I think other people did too, where, man, we were really hoping to get like 2 weeks, 3 weeks notice of when that date was that we're going to reopen. I think it was the announcement was on Memorial Day, and then Wednesday you could open it. And, if you've been doing to go, bless their hearts, Amy and Dustin over there. My God, I can't even imagine the task that is. But just trying to get everything re-going and team built and understanding knowledge and wine and all these kind of things that,
well, first of all,
really go into that restaurant experience.
Yeah, I think
in itself, that takes some time. And if we're looking at maybe,
I think what the governor said, when he said it, was not exactly fair. I think all of you should have been given at least a week or so to get it together somewhat, because you have to rehire, redo, and your life is different down to measuring 6 feet. Nothing, the new normal, no, it's not the new. The normal is not exactly convenient.
Yeah, I think it's okay. We still have the choice to open or not. And
oh, no, I agree.
We're just going to do it when we feel safe.
Comfortable, right.
And prepared.
Yeah, and prepared.
Okay, have both of you, and you can interact with each other as well, but have you had trouble getting staff rehired and getting things back?
Yeah, it's, with all this stuff with this PPP loan too, you have to have a certain amount of people hired by this magic date of June 30th. And, as now we're getting closer to reopening and hiring more people, we're finding that some people just don't want to come back. They're happy with getting their unemployment, and so we're trying to figure that or maybe they don't feel comfortable coming back to work because somebody's compromised, or so it's just it's with everything else, having that added stress of like not being able to fill the employees for this loan and to reopen, what I mean? Like we need people to cook the food and servers to be in the front.
Right. And not all of them are coming back.
No.
And Olav, what about you? Because you have to be speaking to people. I don't think Olav, can you hear me, Olav? I think we've technically lost Olav. Oh, there you are.
There he is.
Are you trying to rehire?
So we will start that process here in a little bit. We won't start it right away, and we haven't rehired anyone as of yet. But we have been hearing a lot of what's similar to what Amy's saying is that a lot of people, it's more or less, I'm taking a pay cut by coming off of unemployment. I'm going to be like, so I'm
That's
coming
what
back to
I
an
hear.
environment where we're not going to have as many tables. We're not going to have as many customers. Why in the world would I do it? Why in the world would I go off of something that's secure right now to the unknown? And I think they have a real fear. I mean, at the end of the day, it's income. I mean, we all have to pay our bills. I mean, if,
Right.
We've learned that lesson time and time again. And, my wife and I, we're not, and I know Amy and Dustin are in the same boat as us. Like, we are the bank when it comes to our restaurant. We are the people that have to take care of everything. We are the ones that pay for everything. There is no magic, investor that I go to say, hey, we're doing rough. We need this. It's us. Like, we are the mom and pops. And that effort of it, you know what I mean? And for us to even define a date, I mean, in the beginning, we were sitting there and saying, middle of June, we don't know. And I think that we just have to let it, this is going to be something that is, as it starts to come back, it'll come back. And when Bittersweet and, and even tables, I think we'll reintroduce our dining rooms once you feel that we can have that feeling back at the dining room. That's the whole essence, because as soon as people walk in the doors, and boy, it feels like it's Bob's restaurant and not Bittersweet anymore, no, because they need to feel that.
Oh, Olaf, can you re-enter?
Repeat.
Repeat what you're saying.
Man, this is like a warm hug coming back. You can get stuff from anything, but dining, the art of dining, the art of caring food, all the things. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay, but here to both of you, and I'm not sure, I'm not a genius on this at all. I heard that, or I was told or informed or something or other, if you ask an employee to come back and they don't want to for whatever reason, and Olaf, I understand their reasons as well, that they can't continue to collect unemployment.
Well, I think it depends on what their situation is. You know what I mean? If they have somebody, if they're compromised, or if they have somebody in their household that's compromised,
then they can.
Then they can. And I think so. I think it's a situation to situation. Our thing is that we have to put out a letter that says that we've asked them to come back, and if they decide not to, that it could affect their unemployment.
Well, I think this is just as big a nightmare as what's been going on for all of you. And Amy, you had a great question yesterday about the outdoor dining.
Yeah, so we have our patio, number one, and then we've applied like a ton of other people. We've got an adjacent parking lot that our landlord owns, so we've applied to get that extra outdoor seating, area that the governor has said that can happen pretty quickly. But my question is, what happens when it rains? Because they can't come. It's not like having a patio before where it's like, okay, everybody come inside. You can't have them come inside. So it's that they eat at their own risk, and then we do their food to go, and then they go in their car. Or what happens is, like, I can't also be in the middle of cooking their entree and then saying, okay, well, we got to leave. And so, then I flip the bill for the food. It's just, there's a lot of.
Right. Well, one person who has opened said they are informing when you make a reservation on the patio, it's made that that if it starts to pour, they'll give you your meal to go. But you can't come inside because it's booked. But my friend Gina had a better question. If you don't collect money in advance, what are they going to do? Leave and you're going to not get paid?
Yeah, so you hope you have faith in your clientele that they understand, and everybody has a little bit more of like a forgiving feeling these days. So you hope that doesn't happen. But yes, all of these things are unknown. So
right. Plus the fact that summer's only going to last so long, and then everybody's going to have to go inside. And if you have patios as well, But right now, you're not going to worry about it. I'm not sure Olav can hear me again.
Right.
You back?
We have tons of patio.
Olaf.
Olav, come home. Can you hear us now?
I'm here now.
Oh, okay.
I hear you now. I lost you guys there for a minute, so.
Yeah, we could see. But we're talking about patios, which you have beautiful patios. But if you were open, what do you do with the weather changing and everything as well? Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, I think that's a gamble we've always ran in the summertime, which is storms are to come and they happen, and we kind of reorganize of how we're going to do it.
Wow. It sounds like
The
everybody.
one thing, and I haven't really quite heard, which is that, you know, in our dining, we have sliding glass doors in it.
He's frozen again.
Which basically creates as much airflow as you would have sitting in or outside. So if you have the ability to open,
I think what he's.
we're going to see more guidance of what allows us to kind of define what in and outdoor.
Right, I think what he's talking about is keeping everything open from inside as well, right? He's breaking up. The other thing I heard was they don't want you to use air conditioning.
Yeah.
Because it's bad for breathing. So, I mean, it's going to be pretty warm in some of these places.
Yeah. I mean, we got a couple of, you know, like 10 by 20 tents. We have a 10 by 20 and a 10 by 30 tent. But I mean, it'll help if it's like drizzling. But if it's like it was 2 days ago, that downpour, I mean, it's going to be a mad rush to everybody for their cars, you know?
Okay, well, on a brighter side, tell us a little bit about lunch at the sandwich shop.
Okay, so we're getting there. We're like I said, we're opening this coming Thursday, and so we've realized that it's not going to be the same as it was, and I don't know when we're going to be able to be at full capacity. But we decided to take a portion of our restaurant that was actually the original portion and open for lunch with sandwiches and takeaways so that we can generate revenue in that portion of the restaurant. So we have, you know, we've got a counter now. We've got, it's pretty much the same menu that we had when we first opened with all the sandwiches.
I really don't remember exactly what was on it from 15.
Well, so all the sandwiches were named, you know, about the area. Like we have the Park Hill sandwich, the Kearney Street, Hudson, Monaco. There's an I-70. So, and they're all sort of the same sandwiches that they were back then. And we're hoping that, you know, the neighborhood will be happy to have it back.
That sounds like fun. It really does. And I'm sure it will be a success. Olav, are you going to come back when you do with the same menu, which is incredible, so is table, that you've always served?
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, that's the reason why we're.
Can you turn your volume up, Olav?
Yeah.
Or speaker or something?
Closer.
There you go.
Can hear you.
Hear you better now?
Yeah, a little bit.
So,
He's in a different
we
place.
will. No, I mean, when we open the restaurant, we've already been actively planting the garden with what we're thinking is going to be our summer menu is coming up. We're not going to be changing any of that. That whole idea of it, and that's kind of why we're just waiting to see what happens. Once we get to that point, then we'll actually figure that out. But the menu and everything in the whole restaurant will really look the same when people come back. I don't think that, other than possibly masks. But the one thing, and I think what's kind of been crazy to me is people are this kind of concern of cleanliness. And it's like, you know, when we saw the original guidelines, and actually I ran into Dustin the day that all this was kind of starting to come down on us. The original guidelines, this is nothing different than what we do every day in a restaurant. We clean like this all the time. This is nothing new for us. This is so that kind of the fear of it, of this, you know what I mean? Like you're just as scared of getting the flu in the winter, I think, is kind of when you're in a restaurant. But as far as our cleaning practices go, they're great. And I mean, that's the one thing I think that people should be more, I think you're more likely to catch it by possibly being, I mean, I think even in Colorado right now, geez, I mean, you got to go searching for it. The numbers are so low anymore. But, you know, for us on that end of it, I think that's a huge point that people need to kind of consider of like, no, we've always done that. We've always cleaned with sanitary chemicals and things that we've always needed to do. It's just common practice for all of us. But as far as the menu goes, yeah, the menu will look very similar to the same. We have some ideas in the works right now. I mean, obviously Thursday tasting menu has been such a big part of the restaurant here.
Yeah, I love it.
We're probably going to be reopening on a Thursday. That's kind of been some things that have been in the background. We've been talking about the idea of even possibly doing like movie nights at Bittersweet towards the end of the evening, just because we have the space. And it brings that kind of sense of community to things. And it just brings that kind
I'd love to go to the movies again.
Yeah, come in, have dinner.
I'm not going into the theater.
How maybe inappropriate or appropriate might be, it, never know. But it's something that I think that is, it just makes us feel like we're back to life. And it is summertime. And especially, I mean, if you have kids, this has been hard on them. Like, it's been tough.
Well, my question to both of you is, when can we have a Gabby Gourmet dinner? All the people who are watching this, all they're saying, and I said, I'm not sure how you're going to work this with the spaces, but it would be great fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we are on board for a Gabby dinner in whatever capacity we can make it work. As soon as we have that, as soon as we can do it. So
we'll have a picnic on the cement floor in the driveway. We'll all sit.
There you go.
You know what? I bet you it would work and people would love it. I think people want to see people, but they want to see them safely. And like your to-go dinner was absolutely fabulous.
Good.
That's tables because Bittersweet doesn't have them. And I know that you all do great things too. And they could close off Kearney for you. It isn't like Alameda.
Yeah, we would love that to happen, but it's not going to happen. There are some businesses that wouldn't want that on the block. So, I mean, it would be great. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I feel like at this point, it's just kind of day by day,
I do too. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see the interaction of all the help with masks and gloves. Here's your wine from 6 feet away.
I know.
It's going to be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, we mapped out our dining room 2 days ago so that we could start taking reservations, because now we've decided to open for dinner on the 11th. And so, mapping it out and looking at the dining room with all the tables spread out and, just hoping that these guidelines stay, we're measuring, we're like, is it from the back of the table? Is it from the chair? Is it from where is, what I mean?
That's true.
There's still a lot of, I feel like, little things that need to be figured out in that way. Like Olav said, with the cleaning and, all that kind of stuff, that I feel that we are very prepared for that. I feel like that's just the way, like he
second
said.
nature. I mean,
Yeah, it's second nature. It's not difficult for us to do that. Yeah,
And I think people in general will choose to go to places like Bittersweet and tables because they know that. Mm-hmm. They know you, they know it is clean, you're going to be cared for.
And it's members of the community.
Oh, that is
own
true.
The restaurant.
Yeah, that's true. Gina just said it's members of the community, like the three. Well, Melissa isn't there, but she's always there in my mind.
Right.
And Brody and Tally, who it's members of the community who participate in the community, and you all really do make it happen. And I just think we have to hope that all the customers on their side are on good behavior and don't act up with whether they'll wear a mask or not. And please don't come in if you're ill, so it makes it safe for everybody who wants to go. I think we as the public are more concerned about the other diners than we are about you all.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, you want to make sure that the people that are coming in are also making, good choices. And
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm more worried about the guy at the next table than I am about eating in your restaurants. So I don't want to stay
I think
home
that's gonna be the
forever.
real fear. I mean, I think that if you even see it in a grocery store, man, if somebody sneezes in an aisle, it clears out immediately. It's pretty quick. But and that is going to be, and I think people will adapt to that. I think there are, we had the more ironic part of it was the people that were still coming to the restaurant before we were actually closed. I would say the average age was 65 plus. And they were coming in, they're like, we really, I've lived a great life. It's been fantastic. I don't really care if I get this or not. I'm good, but I'm not going to stop dining at your restaurant over this. And I think that that's kind of going to see what we have come back. People are going to sit there and say, I know the risk I'm taking, but I'm not going to stop eating good food. I'm not going to stop drinking great wine.
That's very interesting. I had a friend who's a doctor over last night from out of town, and she works at Duke. And she said, well, you're in the age, I said, our age doesn't want to die having seen nobody for 2 years. That's not what we want to do. And on the other end, the young people just want to get out.
Right.
I mean, both ends are really wanting to go at this point. I mean, you want to be cared for, but you want to go.
And I think that's kind of the, and I think hitting on Amy's point, which will be interesting, and we haven't discussed that so much as a staff yet, of if you have a family member that's high risk, do you really want to put yourself in that environment? And we don't have any staff members that are like that right now, but that will be something that's coming up in the future. And the different sensitivity levels of it, I mean, you've seen it all over the country of, obviously let's reopen and let's keep things just kind of as is. I don't know, I guess I've been phrasing it kind of, we're entering the wild west of reopening restaurants, and it's kind of how it's going to shake itself out.
Right, exactly. There's no idea right now. I feel like that's what I was saying. It's like day by day, you just sort of, you wait to hear what the new guidelines are, and then you go, and then the next day it's something different, and then you go. I mean it. And
I don't think any of us ever dreamt this would happen.
No.
I mean, this is just a new world, new episode, and could somebody turn this TV show off? It sucks. No, that's enough of this show. Let's get back to where we belong. But I've adored visiting with you, and I love hearing your comments. Both of you, one than the other. Just give the name of the restaurant, the address, phone number, or how to get in touch. Amy?
Tables Restaurant, we are at 2267 Kearney Street in Park Hill. You could give us a call at 303-388-0299, and you can look at our menus on our website at tablesonkearney.com.
Olav?
500 East Alameda in Pennsylvania, West Wash Park neighborhood. Name is Bittersweet, 303-942-0320. And then as always, bittersweetdenver.com.
Well, I love you all dearly, and guess I've known you forever, and we're just going to have to get through all of this together. And a Gabby Gourmet dinner, dining in, dining out. Just be safe, and I love you all. Thank you.
Love you too.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Olav.
See you soon.
See you later. Bye-bye.